Well, hello and welcome to something that we only did like a few other times before on this channel. And this is some Godzilla Battle Line material. Now, I can't really play and record the game, unfortunately. It won't really work on emulators, and I don't really want to get all this stuff hooked up to do it off my phone. But it's still a game I play a lot, and I don't know, it sounds cheesy, I really care about, but I have lots of fun with it. It's a fun game, and they're doing another voting contest, and I was very excited when they did the last one, actually giving the players a voice with kind of what they want to see next, at least letting the devs sort of know what the different players kind of would like to see. And they are doing a kind of round two. It has all the returning people that didn't get in from the last one, minus Mecha King Ghidorah, who's likely to be next month, hopefully. He was in 5th place. And they added in, I think it was, that would get us down to 12. So they added, I think, 7 new options, if I'm remembering my maths correctly. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff on there. So I want to go through and rank them all again with the new options. Of course, minus the old options. But I do want to bring up right quick, I do want to go over a couple different categories with each of them when I am talking about what to place them at. I know this is all my subjective opinion, but I'm trying to bring up some points here to, I guess, kind of go into it a little bit more. But these categories are the design of the creature, kaiju, whatever. How would it fit into the game? So, like, would it fit kind of a different role? Also, like, calls, because, like, another 4-star, and not as cool. A 2-star, 1-star, yeah, 3-star, also pretty cool. Also, if you had like some unique gameplay type stuff, like we have some diggers, I think that would be an interesting thing to add into the game. Obscurity, I count that as a plus, cause obscurity, I kind of like having some of those things that might be your first introduction to something that gets you a little bit more excited for it. So I think that like is a big plus when it's not like too mainstream, too, I don't know, maybe normie. Whatever, like you only watched 5 Godzilla movies, you're likely to have seen this creature before. The coolness of it. So similar to design, but also just kind of like, is it just kind of cool? Very subjective there. Also, is there a similar option already in the game? So for this, as much as I would like Anguirus, and we already have an Anguirus. So Anguirus is also one that shows up quite a bit, so it might not be too bad off there. But just like, this is basically directed to Godzilla. It's like we have, let's see, I have a whole Godzilla team, and I have options there. But I just moved out Godzilla Earth from that team. I guess I went all the Mecha Godzillas, so like, we have a lot. And then we have, would it get in otherwise? So this is almost kind of like the obscurity factor, but just kind of like, if somebody was making another Godzilla video game, would they ever put this creature in? But yeah, this is the poll. I woke up creating this last night. It's Godzilla Battle Line March 2022 new unit voting contest. If anybody would like to make their own for this one, feel free to do so. I put in the categories here S, A, B, C, D, and F, because I think we'll probably have some F tier stuff. I'm gonna be honest. Also, I tried to get these in alphabetical like order with the numbers. I even like named them as such, upload them in a bash, but got them out of order. I tried to get it in order, so we do like option 1, and I think option 2 is Destroyer. I can't really read the little numbers I put on there, but like, yeah, option, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think Gorgosaurus was 5. I don't know how it uploaded them so randomly, but hey, it did. So we're not going, I think, really be going in order. Also, I think I need to scroll down a little bit more to get it all on the OBS screen. No, okay, that was it. Can kind of resize to get rid of all the ad stuff, because I don't know, we would need to have all care, high pay, entry level jobs, all that kind of fun stuff. So let's go ahead and start. Controversial pick here, Shin Godzilla. D. Design, I don't know, it's okay. It's Godzilla. It's a little bit different. Do I kind of like it? Personally, no. But it is different. Like, I'll at least give this Godzilla, it would stand out maybe the most from the other Godzillas we have in the game. I think it stands out a little bit more than Millennium Godzilla. I think Zilla would stand out the most. Give me Zilla, please. April 1st is approaching. Do it. But yeah, I don't know. It's not one I too super care for. Uh, how it fit in the game, I'm not 100% sure. I myself not a big fan of the Shin Godzilla movie or Shin Godzilla himself, so I can't really tell you how he would be that much different than Godzilla Terrestrius, Godzilla Ultima. So transforming Godzilla, it has a high powerful long range beam attack. Kind of reminds me of that one. Unless he had like multiple transforming stages, which would be dope. I would love if they actually gave Ultima that. I think that would be a cool little thing. Actually, have to have him transform 4 times, or I guess 3 times into his final form. Would be super cool. But yeah, I just don't really see it. They might do something extra cool though if it wins, like give it the Kiru treatment. Because I think Kiru they went kind of above and beyond with making him unique. But I just don't really see him being that unique personally. Obscurity's kind of like a low tier here. Like he's the last, I guess, live action Godzilla that was made. I don't know if he's too niche. Not saying that the newer Godzilla's any less niche than the old ones, but I think you might more likely see this one than some of the old ones. Especially if they're the one like releasing one Godzilla movie a year at this point. It was been kind of a while. I think what 2004 was the last other live action Godzilla, or like real Toho production Godzilla. So like, what was this? 2016? Yeah, I think 2016. They actually call it Shin Godzilla in the poll. They call it Godzilla 2016, which feels weird. I think everybody calls it Shin Godzilla. Coolness, I put it low, personally. Similar options, like I said, Terrestrius, I think they're kind of samey-ish. And would it appear in any other, would it appear otherwise? Him and Destroyer will definitely get into this game no matter what. I don't think they have to win this poll to enter the game. Now, I don't think Shin Godzilla's really been in any other video games, or like main, like video games, but they haven't really been in any. I think the last one was really 2014 if you count like fighting games, so of course he didn't make it into that game because he didn't exist then, and he wasn't in the Pipeworks trilogy because he didn't exist then either. So yeah, I mean, I think he would get in. He hasn't really been in anything else, but I think he would get in. Conversely, Destroyer, I think I might put them on A. I don't think I'm going to be voting for them, but design, pretty cool, pretty interesting. I think it almost has a little too much going on for my personal taste. At least I think that's what I thought when I first saw him. Like, there's just like a lot going on here. But he's cool. How would he fit into the game? Not 100% sure. Has a lots of different attacks he could probably use. I think my thing would be give him a that like anti-oxygen horn thing, do that little beam attack thing with it, so it's kind of like a melee fighter, but also a little bit AoE something. Maybe a flying unit, maybe a walking unit, oxygen blaster, or whatever his attack names are super weird in my opinion. Like, hey, I think he's kind of cool. I think he could fit in the obscurity. Not very obscure. Only appeared in one movie, but he's like been in a bunch of different games. He's like a Godzilla final boss type creature. So he's not really that obscure. Coolness, pretty cool. Similar options. I don't really think so. I feel like you could easily make him unique. He has enough stuff going on there. It's the only ones that had like the... I wish I could remember the name now. It's not anti-oxygen. It wasn't heavy oxygen. Zero oxygen? Unoxygen? I can't remember what the actual weapons names was. I think that would give him some level of uniqueness in here. And would you get it otherwise? Yeah, I think he would. But this coolness, design, and I think he could be a little bit more unique. I'll put him kind of high up there. Also, it'd be cool if he did something with like Destroyer Lava or something. Because I mean, he does kind of transform from other stuff. So you could possibly do that. Although I think it would be cool if some of those guys in other forms. I'd love if Fedora flying form was separate. But now we move on down. This option, giant octopus. That's S tier. That's the one we'll be voting for. Design is decent. Nothing unique. I mean, it's literally a real octopus. I use a real octopus for filming it. So it is literally just an octopus. But hey, a giant octopus, not too bad. Goes onto land to steal human berry juice, I think it was. A little bit different. How would he fit in the game? Budget Biolante, even though Biolante he's already kind of a budget Biolante, but like maybe a more water-based Biolante, like a cheap unit that would destroy swarms. would be pretty cool. Obscurity, I say it's pretty obscure though. I think it's appeared in 2 or 3 movies, but some of those movies were like the Frankenstein series, so that one's kind of a little bit more out there. Coolness. I like some sea creatures. I think he gets an added buff for just being a sea creature. Him and Ebra both for being aquatic bait, or I'm gonna say Ebra's I think more aquatic bait than he is because we normally typically actually see giant octopus on land, which is not what you normally think to find an octopus. Similar options, really kind of just Biolante. And I guess Moghira has like an AoE kind of circular attack thing or something going on there. But I feel like he would also maybe have that, and I don't know, have maybe some extra water stuff. However, decide to do that, and that would be cool. Would he get it otherwise? Probably not. I mean, maybe with how he ranked high in the last poll, he is kind of like a meme option. I could see them maybe adding him in just simply for that. But that is just kind of it. I think he just kind of ranks decently on those. I can't really explain to you why I find him so cool, but it's just kind of is. Although I think it's just kind of the meminess of also him being just literally a real octopus. I also want to mention, I'm linking the description below. I posted this previously on Reddit, but I also did like an updated version of this on my blog thing. A little basic rundown on how you maybe could design each of these units to put them into the game, like what I've seen the kits being like. So if anybody wants to check that out, I kind of described some more of that stuff there, so kind of how it would fit into the game. That's what I would be kind of referring back to, but there's just lots of information to cover there. If I talk all about that, it would probably this video would take a long time. Okay, so then we have I think this is 1962, so Godzilla vs. King Kong. I'll put that F here. It's not bad. We already have the first Godzilla, and I guess technically this is the second Godzilla. I can't remember if there's that much difference between the suit with this one and the first one. I think maybe a little bit. But, like, we have a lot of Godzillas. He wouldn't, I think, immediately stand out as, like, a different design. Doesn't immediately stand out with, like, a different attack. Like, I don't really see anything else here to add on. Also, I'm going to throw on this next one, which is, I think 1964 was the year, the Godzilla vs. Mothra. I might have them back mixed up. I can't really read the text here. It's smaller than I was expecting it to get after getting these made up. These are the images I made up. What's I made up myself? I took them from mostly from the Godzilla wiki. Just try to get like good images of each of these. See, this was before I did this before the poll was actually put up. But then the images on the poll is kind of small, so I just went ahead and make my own stuff to use. I think some of these actually look a little bit better. But I can put these both in the same boat. They're both same Godzillas. This is, I think, the 64 one is, I think, was it the next movie after 62 or 2 movies afterwards? I can't remember which, but it's like not that much of a difference between them. I don't think much really changed. I don't think I remember them really getting any more different attacks. Maybe they fought a little bit differently, but there's not like that much difference between them. Design is still kind of a basic Godzilla design, and one that I'm pretty sure we have, or at least one that looks similar enough to having that I don't think it's really good for that. How it would fit into the game, honestly don't know. I tried to make up something for the thing, but like after doing the first one, I can really probably think for the second one. It's just kind of like the same obscurity. I don't know if they're really that obscure, maybe these particular versions, but like, hey, this was just another Godzilla in another Godzilla movie. And like they did anything drastically different here. So kind of low there. Coolness. Regular Godzilla, I don't know. It depends on how cool you just rank just being Godzilla, but just being another Godzilla in a game with already a bunch of other Godzillas kind of make me, in my opinion, less cool, or make me think that you're less cool. Similar options. I have a whole Godzilla team with options, so we were kind of different Godzillas. And would you get an otherwise? Maybe. I'm not sure how you exactly say that. Maybe not that particular one from that particular movie. But like we would get another, was that be Showa or Heisei era? I can't remember which era is which. We would get another one of those in at some point, like possibly. But we have lots of other Godzillas, so I don't know. There's not that too many differences, I think, between them. Like for me, having one from each era is probably good enough. Maybe one of them that might be more drastically different. Running Godzilla was a unique mode, so him being added made sense. And maybe you might could go with the first Godzilla separate from just like the first era of Godzilla, so that's specifically the one from the first movie. But like, Ebra is, I kind of also want to say like B-ish tier. Design is pretty decent. He's like some sort of crustaceans, shrimp, lobster, something. I think they say lobster, but he looks almost more like a shrimp or something like that. Hey, he's a kaiju. He doesn't actually have to be specifically just one. But hey, he looks kind of decent with that. Nice big claws. Is an aquatic kaiju, which is unique. At least at this point still in the game. How would he fit into the game would probably be another lower cost, lower star unit, which I think would be actually really good to get more of them in. Would probably do something more in water, which I would love to see what they'd actually choose to do with that. Because I think he might stick normally all in the water, so I'm curious what they would do with him getting onto land, or he just get way weaker on land, but he's really good in the water. Might make him very much so he has to be played on certain levels, but I see him being cool. Obscurity, not, I think it's kind of low, but not too low. Like they bring him up with some stuff. Like I know he was in one of the Packworks games, maybe two of them. Is like a mini boss or like a side mini game sort of. So I think you have to like just shoot at him in the water or something. Like he came up and threw rocks at you or something like that. So like he's been in stuff. Like you might not be too familiar with him, but I think he is kind of a go-to sort of creature to just kind of throw in some stuff. So not too bad. Coolness, I don't know if I'd actually say he's that cool, but like I think just kind of being a water kaiju, he kind of is. So, like, to me, those are a little bit extra cool, and I like those. They're a little bit harder to do just fully aquatic-based kaiju because you don't really have them coming onto land and wrecking a city and stuff. So I would say he actually kind of decent. Similar options? No. I mean, not any. Let's say make him similar to somebody else, but I feel like he should be lots more unique. And would it get any otherwise? Probably not. Maybe it's something the AI controls and like you won't actually ever get to really play with. I could see that happening, like they did in the Packworks trilogy, or at least one of the Packworks games. But getting in regardless of that, no. So I think I put him up high. I think he's kind of a decent one. He might have been an A tier for me last time. I don't remember. And I might even adjust him going along. But he's like a pretty good one. I might even put him back in A. I'm not sure. I think we'll leave him in B for right now. Varan's either like a B or C. Design is pretty good. I mean, I think a pretty good design. Maybe a little over the top. Also make him flying, amphibious, and come on the land, all that kind of stuff. Like, what do you call him? It was like Triphibian or something weird like that. Very interesting. I don't know. I like him. How would he fit into the game? Hope maybe it's like somebody that transforms between like a walking unit and like a flying unit or something. Although he can go, he like swims in the water, can walk on land, can fly in the air. So like he could really do all the train types. I don't really know the best way to do it, but hey, something a little bit different there. Obscurity, somewhat decent. I think he's like kind of also, let's say, like the good obscurity too. Like he had his own movie. Like he had his own Martha Rodan Godzilla movie. He just didn't get as popular as those. He appeared in, I think, it was Destroy All Monsters and maybe another movie. I think they brought his like flying prop thing back, just stuff. Some of the movies that had like a lot of random kaiju in it. And he did appear in the Godzilla Unleashed video game, which I think is the only thing I knew him from, but I guess I thought he was an original there or something. I don't really remember him too much from there, but I know I played that game, so I would have seen him, and I think I vaguely remember him rolling around on the ground or something with his, like, cool hunched over stance. His stance is really cool. So he's not, like, the most obscure. Like, maybe he's a little bit maybe less obscure than Emperor, but he also has the cool obscureness of, like, being his own creature. He's not just somewhat like from a random movie that he appeared from a little bit, like Giant Octopus. He actually had his own full-on movie where he was the big bad monster from it. So I think that is an extra added bonus thing there. Coolness, I think he's decently cool. I mean, I think if you find Godzilla cool, you shouldn't probably not find him. I read it. I think that picture of him is kind of terrible. I wanted to use the one from his movie because he looked much cooler. He actually had like the suit, but the suit was damaged. They only had this like miniature flying prop left over, and that's what actually appeared in the movie they're bringing him in from. They're not bringing him in from his own movie. They're bringing him in from his appearance in a Godzilla movie. So I wanted to use that one. But I do think that one doesn't look as cool. But him in his suit, I think, looks really cool. Like, at least if you like early Godzilla stuff. Similar options? Not really. I don't know. I feel like a glider would be a little bit different, too, than some of our flyers. Like, maybe he does like a King Caesar run, charge up. But when he charges up, he starts gliding. Maybe that's one of his unique mechanics or something. But I think he would be a little bit different from other units. Also, I think he'd be probably a little bit below 2, maybe 2-star, maybe gets up to 3-star, but like that's another, I think, added bonus is I don't think he'd be costing too much. And would they get an otherwise? Probably not. Granted, the fact that he got into Godzilla Unleashed, I think, is an added bonus for him. I think that shows that he would get in otherwise. But with that said, I feel like they would choose other options first, typically. I'm not sure why. I think I read over some other stuff recently from Godzilla Unleashed. I can't remember why they said they kind of put Varan in over some other options, because they sound like they had some other options that would have been better. But I think Varan took kind of less development time than like Monsta X and some of these other more out there stuff, like the Door having a more interesting body. So he got in over there, which I think is interesting, because I think those would typically make it in maybe over him, because he doesn't have like the greatest Godzilla connection. But he's kind of a little bit of a weirdness there. But I can see him maybe not making it in without this. Like maybe they would have put him in originally, and maybe they would be one of like the random releases that's not like a major too big hype 4-star unit. But he's not one I think getting in probably too much maybe without this. So yeah, I think I think honestly he's a decent option to vote for, but he's just not too high up there for me. There's other stuff I do like more, like oddly Gamera. Gamera gets up there. That might be a hot, spicy take, but I don't know. I really like his design. The movie he came from was kind of terrible, or like I don't think it's maybe that good of a Godzilla movie. But I think he has an interesting enough design. If you actually had him in like a proper Godzilla movie, it'd be kind of cool. Slick Salonga was an interesting sort of redesign, kind of Gamera. Gabara? Obviously Gamera. But like, I think if you had him done up for like something recently, he could be like really cool. But so design, I think it's pretty decent. Foul would fit into the game, would be like another just kind of cheap unit, shoots lightning or something. Kind of decent. Maybe like another Manila, maybe cost a little bit more, maybe a 3-cost unit, probably another 1-star one too. So just like another little cheap fire unit to throw out there that might do some damage. Obscurity, kind of obscure. Or maybe, I don't think this is definitely one of the best Godzilla movies, but you might see it because it's not one of the best Godzilla movies. It might be recommended to you a lot, so you might have seen it, but he doesn't like really typically seem to reappear that often, so I kind of give him a little bit of the obscurity there. Coolness, I don't know if he's exactly cool, but I do think he has like an interesting design, so I kind of say that makes him a little bit cool. Some interesting possible powers. Supposedly there was one time planned for his different like warts along his body to spray poisonous gas or something. That's kind of cool in my opinion. He's just like a weird frog lizard dude. Similar options, not really. Like I think he kind of stands out as being a little bit more unique. And would he get in otherwise? Probably not. I'm honestly surprised Manila actually got in this early. No. I would love to get his counterpart too. Okay, Megalodon. Megalodon is either like B or A tier. I'm gonna maybe stick it up here at A, at least for right now. The design, pretty cool. Beetle, cockroach, something. Really cool head. Although I also think his wings look kind of cool. Interesting tail. I mean, there's lots of cool things about it. And his drills. I like how the drills almost feel like just randomly thrown on. Like, I think that's the only thing that really makes him feel not. I mean, say he's a giant kaiju thing, anyways. But the drills always make him feel a little bit more like a cyborg or something. Like that's probably not a natural thing, but I think he's pretty cool. What he fit into the game would probably be like a drilling unit or digging. That's kind of one of his big things. At least in the games, it was. I don't know if he did that too much in the movies or not. He also did a like weird kangaroo jump thing, which might just cool to get that as well. But I do think he actually has some unique stuff he could bring to the game, with maybe adding in some drilling stuff. Him and Baragon both could bring that in. I think they do that significantly enough. That is a cool, unique thing to bring in, and that is a mechanic that can be reused between some other kaiju, so I think that one's pretty good. Obscurity, I won't say he's too obscure, but like he had one movie he was in, and only one movie. Granted, it also wasn't one of the best movies, but like a little bit differently than like the one that Gabriel was in. It's just this one, I don't know, was like extra weird with some of the stuff, but it still felt more like a regular Godzilla movie. And he's been in at least 2 of the 3 Powerbox games. He might have been in all 3 of them. I don't remember that first one. I'm not as familiar with the first one as then with the second 2. And I believe he was also in the 2014 Godzilla game. Maybe he wasn't, but I feel like he would have been. Lots of the other stuff from the other games made it into that one. I feel like he would have been, but I never owned that game. It's kind of expensive to go get it now, so like, yeah, probably never actually play that game. So I feel like he's too obscure, but kind of a little bit middle of the road. Like, he was one I knew a lot about without ever seeing his movie, just from playing the video games, and I liked him in those video games, so I played him a lot. So I think he had an interesting enough design and like moveset and everything. I don't know if other people thought the same or not, but like, I give some of these options extra props if they were in a game that behaved coolly in said game. Coolness, I think he's decently cool, or at least in the game. I don't know if he's that cool in the movie, but like in the other stuff, that I think you can make him be very cool with some of his moveset and everything. Similar options, just kind of Baragon with the digging stuff, but somebody in the game, not really. I mean, I guess we have the old Moghira. They do dig, but they're more almost like an instant summon. But they have them dig. I hope this unit would be like one that actually dig across the battlefield and not just instantly appear the enemy side. Would it get an otherwise? Probably. That would be one I might would move it down to here, although I don't know how much maybe Toho likes him, but I think there is at least enough love for people who played the video games that liked him. Next up we have this guy, which I believe this is Godzilla 2000. That's Godzilla 2004. Oh, sorry, Godzilla 1999. Godzilla for the Millennium movie. I'll put him at C tier. I really like him. This would probably be my personal pick for Millennium movies to get in. It's the first one. I think he looked pretty cool, although I mean I don't think he's that different than Final Wars. Probably a little bit less overpowered than Final Wars though, if you wanted to kind of like copy over the stuff from that movie. But I thought that was a pretty decent enough movie. I love the Millennium design. We don't actually have that design in yet. I think it would kind of stand, at least the head. The head really stands out to me as being different than the other Godzillas. So I kind of added up. I mean, I also like it more than Shin Godzilla, so it goes up higher than Shin Godzilla. But also, it had a couple different movies come out. Shin Godzilla's basically a one-off at this point. Millennium had, what, at least 5, 6, maybe more Godzilla movies? So I kind of put him up there. I think Final Wars is probably going to be better, which I'm going to go ahead and put them out. I kind of rank them the same. I'll put that one just one up, because I think people would rather have the Final Wars one than Millennium Godzilla, just strictly because, hey, he's from Final Wars. He was lost cool, just destroyed everything in that movie. It would probably be more powerful, though I felt like you could add both of them in. People would probably hate me for saying this, but just have him be weak. Maybe have him be like a 3-star, have him be a 4-star. Designs, I think is pretty cool. I think this might be my favorite of the Toho Godzilla designs. Honestly, or at least like the live action ones. I don't know. I think this is just really cool. Maybe someone's more familiar with this one. But yeah, I really like this one. I think I also like it looked a little bit more or less like a suit. because as you get older, you can have it get a little bit cooler with the design, maybe, and have everything like a dude in a suit. And I think that's what I like about this one. Looks a little bit more creature-like. How would it fit into the game? There's a couple of different moves he actually does, especially in Final Wars, that I feel like you could add in to make it a little bit different, like the thermonuclear pulse or thermonuclear beam, the red spiral pulse, heat beam, something or another. I know he had that in Final Wars, so there's also like some kind of thermonuclear pulse he did, I think, to Olga when he was inside of his mouth that he carried over, that you might could kind of bring over or something. And there's just a lot of kind of cool stuff there, some different things, and he would look a little bit different. Maybe you could change up the cost as well to make things a little bit different there. Though it would be cool if you have one that's just like a powerhouse. Though we already have like a lot of units kind of like that. Obscurity, I don't think that much obscure. Like, he was one of the main 3 generations of Godzilla designs, so, and he's also like the kind of more recent ones. I don't think he's probably that obscure. Kind of put him a little bit low. Coolness, I think he's decently cool, but depends how you'd also rank the other Godzillas. I just really like this design more. Similar options, yeah, I mean, well, one, there's 2 of them on here for kind of the same Godzilla. And other similar options is all the other Godzillas already in. The Shin Godzilla and the 2 early Godzilla designs below that one on this same tier list. So there's a lot of Godzilla stuff getting in. So probably not the best bet. And I feel like this is also one that would be likely to get in otherwise, at least one of them. This would complete the, like, Trinity, or I guess it used to be Trinity because now there's like a new, the Rira era or something like that. But hey, it would complete the kind of trinity of classic Toho Godzilla eras. So you would have Showa, Heisei, and Millennium. So I felt like it would be kind of good for that, but putting it because, hey, it's literally just another Godzilla. Baragon is... it's either B or C. I will put it at B for one main reason. That reason, I feel like it would be like a cheaper cost unit and probably a 2-star. Even though he was one of the 3 defenders of Earth in this movie that they're picking him from, he dies very quickly and his name's not even in the title. So probably not. Design is okay. I have really nothing against it. It's just not as cool. I don't even know what you would say. Is it lizard, mammalian? I don't know. It didn't really ever stand out to me. Almost kind of like a weird naked rat or something. I don't know. It's like a weird mutant mole rat thing from Fallout. It's not like the coolest to me, but hey, he is different, so I'll give him some interesting points there. How would he fit in the game? Probably would be another digging unit. He also, at least in the past movies he was in, had like a little weak flamethrower stuff, so maybe you bring that in over again, have him actually have like a weak flamethrower stuff that has the burning effect of the Desi Ghidorah or something like that to add in, to kind of reuse a mechanic that hasn't really been reused yet. Obscurity, maybe. I think they were in like, did he fight King Kong? No, he fought Frankenstein. Then he was in that movie that died very quickly at the beginning, and I think he's been in a couple of other kind of like team up stuff. Has been in some of the games. I think he's been in like Save the Earth and Unleashed. Maybe he didn't make, no, I think he stayed in Unleashed. I don't remember if he was in the one before that one or not, but he was at least in 2 video games. Very easily to get his name confused, I think, with Batgon though, which is a whole nother creature. So kind of like decent obscurity, maybe like a 2 or 3 out of 5, somewhere like that, 2.5 out of 5, like in the middle-ish. Because he has been in like enough like recent-ish games, and he has been in a couple like bigger movies. But he also has been some like obscure ones. Coolness, put it maybe a little bit low though. If you're gonna bring over his suit VAs doing the sounds for him, he gets extra like kawaii points right there. So might not be too high on the coolness, but might get some kawaii stuff. Similar options, kind of just Megalodon if you have them do some digging stuff. I think adding in digging would probably be the best way to make this creature unique. I have a whole idea about how to do digging. I have posted that a couple different times on Reddit. I think could work pretty well, though I'd recommend just going over there and checking that out. I think it should be in that little write-up of how I would do these units, though. Like brief basic description, kind of would just have them dig over towards an enemy or like dig across the map, but they'd only come out of digging if maybe hit by an airstrike might force them to come out, or if they get within range of an enemy that they can attack. So if some of these can only hit land units, which they would only be able to attack land units, you know, love everything to actually be able to attack air. This would keep them safe from being bombarded by air units walking all the way across the map. I think that might be kind of a good way. Maybe some of these, I think Megalodon might be a little bit more aggressive, so you might have him more dig out of his way towards other enemies to go attack them. So some different things like that. And would it get in otherwise? I feel like, yeah. Maybe a little bit more so than Megalodon. I'm not sure because they've had more appearances and they've been. I think they've been about as many games as Megalodon has. So like, they're kind of that weird. They're kind of obscure, but they make it into a bunch of different video games. I think that's just. I mean, it might just be my opinion. I think that might just be because they do have that digging power, so that makes it where they are actually kind of unique in some of the stuff they do. That's a good way to add them into like a fighting game, make them different than like the only two creatures in that game that can dig. Next up we have Anguirus from Singular Point. They're almost A tier, but I think they would be like B tier. It's kind of I kind of want to put them up a little bit higher. Singular Point ones I'm split upon. The design here I think is pretty cool. I like how they almost went almost a little bit more samurai with that little, I don't know, bit of armor sticking off at the back there near the thighs. Really cool. I think really cool design here. Definitely looks different than the other Anguiruses, which I think all have pretty decent designs, but they're like, this one I think stands out more as being different without being like too drastically different. It's still kind of like a very spiky, tanky looking creature. How would it fit into the game? I think it would be like another tank unit. I think there is, you could say there's some overlap with the regular Anguirus, which I mean that is what role he would fit. Though I think all Anguiruses would probably fit the role somewhat of a tank. At least if I was just looking at the designs, I probably would. Though I'll probably have him be a little bit different with this one, at least based upon the game, or again, this show. Maybe he just kind of blocks all damage that is like ranged. You know, we can take damage from up close, like he did in that show, which I think would be an interesting way to do it. Like have him be basically immune from a Super X unless he gets really up close to it. And that could be a really good niche to fit into the game. And if the game really has that many tanks, really either, to say that we wouldn't possibly benefit from another one. Obscurity, kind of mixed. I mean, he's from the most recent like Godzilla thing that was released, which was a show. Though you have to have Netflix to watch it. Lots of like pseudoscience, theoretical science stuff getting discussed. I can see you maybe leaving if you just here to watch the Godzilla action. So like mixed obscurity, though he is just a version of, I would say, probably a popular kaiju. Like one that has kind of been around for a while that keeps on popping up again and again. So a little bit less obscure just for that sole reason. Coolness, I think he's pretty cool. That's kind of all there is to it. Similar option, like I said, just the other Anguirus. Though I think Anguirus is one that could probably benefit from having a couple different versions in the game. Him, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, I think all also deserve to have a unit that counts as a leader as well. I don't think this would probably be the leader option that would get in, but I think they all kind of deserve at least to have another one for that. Rodan already has 2 versions in the game, so I think they could probably have more. And I think Anguirus could probably support 2 or 3. Like, they appear enough times, and this one would be different enough. I don't think there'd be too much overlap there, but I'm an Anguirus fanboy, so, like, I might just be a little bit biased there. But I don't think 2 Anguiruses is that big of a thing at this point. And would it get an otherwise? Hard to say. I mean, it wasn't like the biggest creature either, so it's not like a big kaiju, though it possibly kept growing, and you might just kind of, I don't know, upscale it just because, like the Dorats. So, like, I don't know if it would really get an otherwise. I think it's kind of hard to say since it just came out, last year? I think it's kind of hard to say would it get an otherwise, but I think they would probably typically stick to the older Anguirus' design, so this might be the main way for that one to get in. So they might put in some more singular point stuff in anyways, just kind of like a singular point update month, a month or two, if they see that these are popular. So I can put that one there. Next up is the singular point Rodan, which is another one I'm just going to put up here, but I think I might even stick it before that. I'm a Rodan, I'm an Anguirus fanboy. Anti-Rodan stan, if you might say. But I don't know, I think he would also fit well in the game. Although I think also what makes me want to see him in the game is you had the singular point map, and it spawned in Rodan because he was so important to the story, and it was just the regular Rodan, not a like even reskinned one to make it look like the singular point one. I think that has made me actually want the singular point Rodan in the game more. I used this picture. I was gonna maybe use the second picture for them, with a second, I guess, a version, the more brown one, which is oddly smaller too. I think this one stands out more. But this was the picture they had for it in the poll, so I went with this one for here, which I think it does kind of stand out more. I almost kind of think of this version more, even though we get rid of this pretty quickly into the show. This one does stand out to me as the like singular point Rodan. And I think it would be cool, like, if you did have a big one or small one or whatever, use this coloring to definitely make him look different. Like, you would be no mistaking him from the other Rodan if you saw these colors, which I think is kind of cool. The design is, like, decent. I mean, he's just kind of like a pterodactyl or something, pterosaur or something. Whatever one of those flying dinosaurs, the reptiles, I call them dinosaurs. I mean, it's kind of just that, but kind of like so too is Rodan. This is just like not one that's a dude in a suit, so I don't think anything too extra special here. The inside of his mouth is really cool though, with all those teeth. How would it fit into the game? I personally see this as a flying swarm, which at the time I was thinking about adding, or like doing a kit for this, like one of the first ones I wanted to do. I think I actually did it in like a Reddit comment, but I never like did a full write-up for it. It would be like a first flying swarm unit, which we actually have gotten one with the Dorats. But I think it would be cool to see this one in too. Maybe have this one come in and like be a little bit heftier than the Dorats were. Probably have them like, it would be cool to have them in a flying V, although I think we just did 3, we have to make a V. Maybe have 5 spawn in and make it V, like make it a bigger swarm unit. But I think these could work pretty well. Although granted, I also like the swarm units. I actually like that meta from back in the day, so more stuff for that coming back wouldn't think be a bad idea. They just have so many good counters, but maybe make this one a little bit tankier. Obscurity is kind of the same as Anguirus. It's still that, like, I don't know, maybe this show was like that popular or not. I mean, I enjoyed it enough. But it's not like maybe the most mainstream thing, but like it's another Rodan, so I don't think Rodan can be too obscure. Coolness, kind of mixed. I think it's less cool than the Anguirus, but I think it could kind of work. Similar options, just basically Dorats, and I think maybe people might rather use these over the Dorats? I don't know. Those little fun boys. And would again, otherwise, same as like Anguirus, I don't know. I mean, I definitely think this one would probably be less likely to be picked for a Rodan version than the Anguirus. Because the Anguirus, I don't know, I feel like you could just scale it up, like they led you on to believe it could get bigger to maybe be that size. Rodan, we just had that weird shadow Rodan at the end that just kind of appeared for like an opening scene and died, which was, I don't know, I don't really know how to really think or feel about that scene, considering how like weird it was. And then next up here we have Gorosaurus. I might put it here at the end of this one as well. Yeah, there we go. I think it might be better than some of these other ones. But the design, I mean, pretty decent. I'm kind of a little bit more definitely T-Rex looking, but I also like how it feels a little bit kangaroo-ish. I mean, especially with some of the other stuff it does. But I think it has a decent enough design. Not the most unique, but just like unique enough with some tweaks to it. How would he fit into the game? Honestly, I would love him to be kind of like a delay unit or something. I think in my kit, something about he does like kangaroo kicks. Like he gets back with his tail and kicks people real hard. Have him do that and just have him like push back the enemy's like units that he kicks, so he just kind of like delays them or gets them away from the leader, something like that, and they can make him a unique role. Also, I don't think he'd be like too expensive either. Probably 2-star unit as well. Maybe 3-star. I feel like 2-star would fit for him. To be able to get him fairly easily. Probably not high cost either. Maybe 4 cost. Maybe 5 if he's like that useful, does that much damage or whatever. But yeah, I could see him fitting in decently. Obscurity, I think he's like decently obscure. Not in like too many of the big stuff, but not that obscure either. I mean, I've at least heard of him a couple times, but he's not like getting into many games and other stuff. So there's that. Coolness, he's like medium cool, a little bit higher than medium. But like, I mean, maybe like a 3.5 out of 5 or something there on the coolness scale. Similar options. Not really if you actually have like a pushback unit. And would he get in otherwise? Probably not. I mean, maybe see him in this game with his different role he could fill, but he's not making it in many other games. He's not like a top tier unit that's always making it in there, so I think that one's pretty good. Sander and Gyra and Sander? Gyra/Sander? I don't know how to pronounce the name. Also, I thought it was weird that they put them on the English poll at least. It was like the slash, not Gyra and Sander. Originally thought he was going to maybe be like a double unit, but this one sounds like it might be either or something. Or not what it is poorly, in my opinion. The design, I don't know, kind of low tier. Like, it's basically a dude in a suit. I mean, the sons of Frankenstein's monsters, so they're probably not going to be that, like, out there in design. They're, like, human stuff. But, yeah, not like the coolest design. How would it fit into the game? I would love it if it did spawn in both of them. Kind of like a swarm unit, maybe on opposite sides of the map or something like that. It is interesting having kaiju-sized creatures, more so than, like, the other swarm stuff. And how it originally read almost like it was going to be a swarm, or like it would spawn in 2 units, even though they're kind of like the same thing. There probably wouldn't be different powers between them. But I thought that was kind of interesting. That would be somewhat different. Like, I don't see these getting too quickly killed by King Ghidorah and by Alante. At least not like the other swarm. And probably not getting one shot like the other the other swarm units are by the anti-swarm stuff. So I think that would be a good plus there. Obscurity, mega plus. That's super obscure. Coolness, I don't know, like 2 out of 5. Like, I don't know if they actually are that cool. I think the Frankenstein's monster, I think, would be a little bit cooler, because it's like people have some connection with Frankenstein's monster. Like, oh, he's a kaiju now. That's a little bit cooler than his, like, kids coming on. Similar other options? Not really. I mean, I guess like for humanoid kaiju, you have them, the classic Jet Jaguar, Frankenstein's monster, then maybe some like, what was it, Zone Fighter stuff, and they want to go bring some of that little bit more different out there stuff in, but like, there is not very many other things like them. Would they get in otherwise? No. So I kind of have them like B, like they're not like ones I think I like to think of as cool as, let's say, Giant Octopus, Gabra, Megalodon, heck, even Varan, Baragon, Emperor, but they're like one of probably the more obscure things. Also, the Giant Octopus was in more movies than them. I think he was in their father's movie and their movie, as well as the King Kong vs. Godzilla movie. So like, they're more obscure, I would say, than Giant Octopus, which is really saying something. So kind of put them up here because they're like a great one to vote for obscurity. Up next we have I guess I would say like the real Toho Moghira, or at least like the Godzilla Moghira, which I think is another one I'd put in here. I might put him up above that one. Still kind of a little bit obscure. Though, I don't know, he's kind of a weird one, because I've seen him in the games a bunch of times. So he kind of is less obscure because of that, but hasn't been in too many movies, even though he has the other older one that was in that Mysterious movie. So he's kind of weird, but he's like a very different design from that one. The design is pretty cool. I like he looks like more of a mech weapons platform built to fight kaiju to me than Mechagodzilla, because Mechagodzilla feels a little bit too gimmicky with why does he have to look like Godzilla? Couldn't you have like more weapons if you didn't have to make him look like Godzilla? And I feel like this one benefits from that. So, mega plus there for that. I really do like him with that. And I like how he kind of moves around, tries to stay at range, almost like he is a giant tank. How would he fit into the game? Like a different weapons platform, maybe a little bit longer range, maybe moves a little bit quickly around the map or something. I think that could be kind of cool. Obscurity, like I said, it's kind of a little bit mixed there. Hasn't I think he was only appeared in like one movie. No, that was the Space Godzilla movie, so that's kind of like a big one to go see. But he's also appeared in, I think, at least Unleashed and Save the Earth. And was he in the 2014 game as well? I think so, maybe. He's just kind of, I think, a little bit more of an interesting, or maybe the most interesting, like, Godzilla Defense Force, whatever different version, EDF, JSDF, GDF, all those different groups. More like anti-Godzilla mecha, because he's not just Godzilla. Mega King Ghidorah is also very interesting with that, but, like, this one seemed like more of an actual, like, mecha thing I feel like you would make, because you're not having to make him humanoid. I feel like the treads make a little bit more sense, like human legs walking around, and you're not giving him a tail, making him look like Godzilla. So I think like lots of extra pluses there. That for the coolest, I don't know, he's kind of cool, personally. Similar options, not really unless you count the Mecha Godzillas, but I think he does stand out as being different enough, and I think he's big enough to have like more health than maybe some of the other Super X's, like the X2, X3, because he's like the only other one that's still kind of on like the full-on mecha category, though he is like kind of one of the weaker ones of those like mechas. And would he get in otherwise? But I can see possibly. I think he stands out enough from the other Mecha Godzillas to get in, because he's not a Mecha Godzilla, so it's not like you're adding in another Mecha Godzilla, but you are adding in another Mecha, so it's a little bit questionable there. Next up we have Monsta X. Monsta X I kind of I'll put here too. Monsta X is an interesting one. Transformed into Kaiser Ghidorah, which is I think a little bit less interesting. I think Monsta X is a little bit more interesting than Kaiser Ghidorah, because it's kind of another Ghidorah, but it's another four-legged Ghidorah, which is interesting. Some of the Ghidorah different versions is kind of cool. They would add another Ghidorah, like I wouldn't mind at some point maybe making our Ghidorah team just bring in like some of the different versions of him. But his Monsta X design I think is really cool. Kaiser Ghidorah is a little bit less cool, but still kind of an interesting mixture. I mean, I guess unless you watch the Mothra movies, this might be your first time to see the like four-legged Ghidorah design, and that's kind of cool. How would he fit into the game? Another transforming unit of some kind would transform into a really powerful Ghidorah. Might not would be a flying unit, because I don't know, well, at least to me, he looks more like a walking unit, and I think he did more walking in that one than flying. I can't remember exactly. I know Desert Ghidorah is flying. I was hoping maybe he was going to be walking too. Might be kind of weird to have those big wings and not be flying. But I think that might be a cool way to maybe kind of balance him out to let other stuff actually deal damage to him. But kind of an interesting, unique maybe fit in there. You bring in some different stuff for the gravity beams, like maybe pushing people back as well. To have like another pusher unit. Obscurity is not that obscure, but maybe decent enough that I could see kind of fall. I mean, he was on the one movie. He's never made it into really any like mainline video games. I think because he's a little bit more complicated. He has to have that transforming mechanic and all that kind of stuff. I think they mostly seek that stuff for Mothra and I guess Batra as well. And he was at like the end of that one, and then what? Like it was that movie, and I guess Shin Godzilla, the anime trilogy in Singular Point. I think that's kind of like, I think he was like the last of like the Millennium series, if I remember correctly. So there might be a chance you haven't seen that one. I don't know, I feel kind of weird to say that, but like he never appeared in many things else after. I mean, I guess not too many mainstream stuff. Let me put it that way. And he never made it to the end of that series. You might want to make it through all the Millennium stuff. It was kind of like culmination of all of those. You might not see him. So some interesting stuff there. Might be a little bit obscure, not like the most obscure. He's still like another version of Ghidorah, so a lot less obscurity, I'd say, added in just from that solely. Coolness, pretty cool. I think the Kaiser Ghidorah is a little bit less cool because it's just kind of like another Ghidorah. But Monsta X has a really cool and more unique design. And like the half a head on each shoulder, like that. There's some cool designs that went into him. Similar options. Not really, there's no other real like transforming Ghidorah out there, and this would add in a Ghidorah that wouldn't always have the form of a Ghidorah as well, so like, interesting addition there, like it's a little bit different. Would it get in otherwise? Possibly. I know this has been talked about, I think for that Godzilla Unleashed, it was talked about putting him in there, although I think that just like recently-ish came out around that time too. So there was really no, I think, chance to get him in the other games. I think Save the Earth was like 2002. But there's just like a lots of stuff to add in there for him. I don't know why the 2014 game didn't put him in there. But so he's kind of like a weird one. Like I put him as less likely to get in than Shin Godzilla and Destroyer by themselves. Also maybe a little bit less than a Millennium Era Godzilla. But, I don't know, maybe fourth most likely to get in after them. Like, I could see them adding him in. He's just in that weird stage of being, like, late enough where there really wasn't that many games to put him into. There was Unleashed, and there was the 2014 game. And they, I guess, maybe a little bit more obscure because he had never been in any of the other games as well. So, a little bit of stuff there. So, kind of, but probably, like, fourth on the list to get into the game. And now we only have one other option. The first Mechagodzilla. I'm actually gonna put this up here at A. It might be kind of weird sounding, but I am. He's the only truly bad Mechagodzilla. Or I mean, he was on the side of the aliens. He has finger missiles, which is cool. His design's pretty interesting. Also, specifically, this is his, I think, from the first movie he was in, because there was two movies with him. There was like Return of Mechagodzilla, if I remember correctly, if that was the name. But this is, I think, from the first one, which would be the one where he was also disguised as Godzilla. I don't know how you would work that into the actual game, any sort of actual gameplay or not. But I think he's pretty cool. I mean, that would be like a very interesting feature, so he would definitely fit into the game, kind of interesting there. Design is pretty decent. I think maybe this might be my favorite of the Mechagodzilla's design. I know Kiryu's head's also pretty cool, but this one might be my favorite, so big plus there. But we also have a couple other Godzilla, well, a couple other Mechagodzilla, so this is kind of interesting. I think overall decent design. They brought in like the disguised one, extra pluses there. It'd be kind of fun to see a disguised Godzilla. Maybe some sort of weird transforming mechanic, or like mimic, or like I don't know, maybe like the enemy doesn't attack him while he's disguised, or something weird like that. So possible interesting way to fit into the game. Obscurity, not very obscure, especially not with Mechagodzilla. Like Mechagodzilla is one of like Godzilla's big enemies, but the different thing about them is there's always a different Mechagodzilla. There's more differences between Mechagodzilla returning than there is with a King Ghidorah returning. But he's also the first one, so I feel like he's kind of a little bit less obscure just by that sole fact. Coolness, I think he's pretty cool. Finger missiles, alien full-on bad guy. Like, there's lots of different stuff he did there because you just have slapped on, oh, it's space missiles. It's space laser beams. He's an alien creature. You can get a little bit more out there with some of his stuff just because he's an alien. Also helped me fill out my alien team. Similar options. The other two Mechagodzillas, which are in the game, but although I feel like he'd mostly compare probably to like the middle Godzilla, the middle Mecha's Godzilla, called, I feel like you wouldn't have him flying in like Kiryu, because Kiryu's already a little bit different, almost being like a summon or like an airstrike kind of, with a unit attached to it. I feel like he would be a little bit different. If you actually had him with a disguise, like, it would definitely make him more different. But I feel like you could throw on some more wacky weapons to him, have fun with him being a little bit more of an alien. And would it get an otherwise? Honestly, I actually feel like maybe no. Because, like, reading over some of the stuff for the Pathworks games, reading over, like, when the different Godzillas got in, well, what units were scrapped, basically. There was lots of things scrapped, like, we already have one of these. And I think it might have been one of the first Mecha Godzillas got scrapped at one time, like, we already have two other Mecha Godzillas. I think I remember saying the other had, like, Moghira, Mecha Godzilla 2 and Mecha Godzilla 3, and I'm like, well, why don't we have, like, a Mecha Godzilla 1 if we have Mecha Godzilla 2 and 3? So I can see it might be almost being like that. Like, I almost feel like he needs to win a poll to get him in anytime too soon. Like, I feel like he would eventually make it in, especially for a game that would have as big a roster as this would if it goes on long enough. But he is one of those that also probably won't have, like, I think they might be smart with him and not overload us with, like, Mecha Godzillas, because people might complain about that. Though I think there's at least enough of a difference between all three of them to have all three of them in the game that is just like, oh, it's another Mecha Godzilla. We already have two other Mecha Godzillas. So it's like a weird, like, well, people might like this one more than the other ones, and he is different. But it is also still another Mecha Godzilla, and you might even say by extension of the Godzilla too. So I could see people not being too happy with another inclusion of a Mecha Godzilla. So if you want him in soon, you probably do need to vote for him. But I think this is about where I would go. Like, I probably would mix some of these around in here. Like, I probably would put them at the end. I don't know if I would put actually Emperor at the front of this list. I don't know, might move you down. I should probably move y'all up above those. If I'm gonna be honest. I mean, there we go. But I'm not really so much designing them in the row. Like, I'll probably put you down here. Maybe... I don't know where I've exactly rank them. Maybe put you actually back here. Like, I would say Destroyer is definitely not first of A tier. But, like, they are one that is cool that I would like to see, that I do actually like, but I would rather people not vote for him, but he's going to get in otherwise. Like, I feel like he's an anniversary unit. I really thought he wasn't going to be on the poll, because I thought they might be saving him for the 1 year anniversary. Monsta X I could also see making that list. Shin Godzilla possibly making that list. So, yeah, that's kind of it. Like, I would say I haven't really ranked them like sideways too much, because I would have to do a lot of probably reworking, especially for like the B tier. I think the thing I'd say is there's not too many really bad options. The only really bad ones, I say, just like down here at F tier, just because I don't think really bring anything interesting. I don't too much care for you personally. For anybody that does actually like them, more power to you. But it's also another Godzilla. It's not one I super care for. Kind of the same thing for this one, but I actually like him because he's up higher just because I like him. And he is also different. Maybe not as different as this one, but I do feel like his design is pretty different from the other Godzillas we have. I don't know, just like his face, the lot sharper, pointed, spikier spines, all that kind of stuff. And maybe a little bit more of a powerhouse. And just kind of put this one up here because I thought, I feel like this one is probably more hype than this one, so I feel like he needs to be on different tiers. If that makes sense, I'm kind of just putting these all on different tiers because I'd rather have this one over this one, but I think people would rather have this one over this one, so I'm putting them kind of up higher. And I would kind of like Millennium Era Godzilla. Everett's cool. Singular point options would be great. Varan, interesting. Moghira, cool. Monsta X would be pretty interesting. Megalodon's kind of a little bit more obscure, interesting. Gorosaurus, definitely. These are super obscure. B tier is kind of solid. Like, there's a lots of solid picks that I wouldn't really be mad if they got in. Like, I don't think I would be too mad if any of these made it. Maybe Final Wars. Cause like, I'd put maybe 5 of these other things. It looks like we're getting like a top 5. Like, give me 5 of these like other things besides another Godzilla. Maybe even accept Destroyer if Destroyer made it in. But like, let's get let me get Giant Octopus, maybe a Gabra, Megalodon, somebody from Singular Point. Varan would be interesting. So I think that's kind of where I'm at. This is my tier list here, I would say. I know you can't really see the bottom ones, the F tier. You only see the top half of them. But oh well, they're not cool enough to make it in where you can see the rest of them. But I think really with that, that's kind of where I'm at. If you watch this and you find this interesting, I will provide a link to this tier maker in the comments below. Also, we'll probably repost this over onto Reddit for anybody that wants to make their own tier list. But I would love to see other people's ranking of these units. Like, what would you actually want to see? Like, not just your top one. What's your, like, backup options? Like, I know we only can vote for one, but, like, what would be your top 5 that you would actually want to see make it in? Could also say top 5. I might even have to bump up like Anguirus in here because I'm an Anguirus fanboy. Maybe give me some more of that action. But yeah, that's kind of it. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, I know I don't really do too much of this stuff on the channel, so probably my regular people might not even watch this or really know enough to like vote or anything. But I'd love to hear like how you would rank these, or what would you be your like what would be your criteria for ranking them as such, like design, how would they fit into the game, obscurity, coolness, other options in the game, would they get in otherwise, like, is that kind of your criteria or not? Like, I know lots of people are going, like, Octopus and, Sanda and Gyra? I don't know how to pronounce their names, I'm sorry. Because those are definitely two of probably the more obscure ones, an option that wouldn't probably make it in otherwise. But I also know lots of people are just going for the basic Shin Godzilla and Destroyer. Which I get Destroyer, I like Destroyer. I don't really care for Shin Godzilla. I didn't also care for Godzilla, so, yeah, I don't know. Flame me in the comments for that. But I would like to see some of these things that wouldn't get in otherwise get in. So I would probably say, please maybe vote for the more obscure ones or the less, like, mega hype units, like the stuff you know that they're going to add in regardless. Like, there's no way they're not going to stick them in, because I know people will probably buy for them. How many people going to buy Giant Octopus when they get into the game? Will you actually spend your money to pull more Giant Octopus? Would you spend more money to get you some Shin Godzilla? Probably. Destroyer? Yeah. Maybe even Monsta X? Good chance. So yeah, just kind of where I'm at. But do let me know what you thought in the comments below. This is Victor Ripley signing off. Goodbye and have a wonderful day. And I look forward to doing some more Godzilla Battle Line related stuff in the near future. So stay tuned for that. Until then, bye-bye.